this is where the stoop, and you can build these tombs because this grain is crystalline in some form. It's also got a lot of calcium in it, and it's stable. So you can dig 13 meters down, and it's completely stable to hold your funeral rituals. Indeed, first to dig it, and then to hold your funeral rituals. This is not possible in most other parts of the world, and most other parts of the world don't have large, they do have some loess deposits, but they don't have large loess deposits. If you look at this table, which is a drawing of some of the big tombs, the colours tell you, this is at 30 meters down. 30 meters is 100 feet, and it's sort of in here, probably. This is probably 60 to 100 feet high, and this is, you're turning it over and digging down. Only the first emperor goes this deep, but these are in the 20 meters plus, and at some areas there's water. They probably started to do this to dig wells, and as I'm almost the only person who's written about this, no one has really studied how and why they began with the wells, but they almost certainly began with wells because the rain doesn't reach this part of China very well. So the reason for the tombs in China is both the belief system, but above all, that they could do it. And having started to do it, everybody wanted to copy. Now, there are big tombs in southern China, but they're not as deep, and they have sloping sides. And they give up trying, because if you try in southern China, which is totally waterlogged, the whole thing starts to fall in. So this is a very rare possibility, but which is possible both in the main Loess Plateau and in part of the North China Plain where it's covered with water-deposited silt of loess. So it's possible, and they go on doing it to the Ming and the Qing dynasty. So this is the biggest tomb of all is the first emperor. And here you get the terracotta warriors, and it's a very complicated layout. This is the actual tomb. This is what you could call the mausoleum, sort of like a walled city. And then these are the terracotta warriors here, and up there are some bronze birds, and these are the convicts who built the whole thing. So one of the possibilities in China, if you believe that the family is predominant and not a deity, is that the hierarchy of generations matters in the government more than anything else. So you cannot, as a son, replace your father. It's just not possible. And it's not filial to try and do him harm anyway. It's better to be nice to him. So China has an exceptionally hierarchical society at all levels, both in the family and in the university and in the state. And one thing those of us who are foreigners have to accept is when we're in China, we have to know who is in charge. And it's no good thinking you're in charge. A foreigner is always an outsider. So that this is something, again, that Western politicians, Western bureaucrats have no idea how to manage. That they do not know that if you're insulting to the man who's in charge, it will be difficult for the next few months. But that is what happens. And so I've spent a lot of time when going to China, and in order to see these sites, I spent a lot of time working out who's in charge of the site, under which bureaucracy does it come, and who at the top gives permission for the site to be dug at all, or lets a foreigner in to see it. I mean, all these things are very, very complicated and carefully managed hierarchically. So the first emperor ran a very complicated hierarchy. That is clear. What is also clear is that he had a blueprint. Someone decided how to do this, and then they carried it out. And we'll think a bit more about that. But the most amazing, I think, feature of China, quite apart from it being different from us, is that they can make a blueprint, they can decide how to organize it, and they can carry it out. And if you've seen the fast railways in China, you'll know that they can do it today as they did it then. These figures are all the same height. There are more than 7,000 of them. How did they decide on the height? How did they create teams to make them? How did they make sure that the teams carried them out and didn't go AWOL and do funny waving arm figures? I mean, there's a lot of questions to ask about this, and it's definitely going on today. So the one thing that China has way ahead of any Western country is the ability to decide on a scheme and to bring together teams of people and carry it out. It's quite astonishing. This is the biggest tomb there is in China. It's 55, the mound is only 55 meters high. It's not very special, but it's 35 meters deep. And one reason it's not being excavated at the moment is if you can imagine this full of earth and turned upside down in the ground, digging it out would be a major enterprise, and you have to put the earth, which is in this building, upside down in the earth. You have to put it somewhere. So where do you put it? All around you. But I told you just now that all around is surrounded by other burials of bronze chariots, of birds. These are generals with the stone armour, and officials with horses. You've got nowhere to put all this stuff. And anyway, if you did dig it and something went wrong in the state, I think they'd blame the first emperor. So I don't think anybody really wants to dig it up. We think it's a good idea. I don't think the Chinese government think it's a good idea at all. And they haven't done it. What's more, this has also got an artificial grave chamber, which it looks in plan like this, balanced above that deep vault. It is a quite astonishing construction, and this is all done by remote sensing. So they do coring, that's digging down with a core. They also do remote sensing, but we have no idea how correct it is. But it could be something like this. I believe the archaeologists who do it.